In the beautiful London at World Blockchain Forum, and we're here with Richard Titus from ARK. Richard, how are you doing?
I'm very good. It's Titus is what everyone calls me. Yeah, it's fun. It's so fun to be back in London. I lived here for 7 years actually, so this is like my second home in the world.
ARK for the true believers, it's one of their favorite projects. I know, for instance. Can you tell about the progress that ARK has made this year actually?
So ARK Advisors, which is my firm, is one of the largest. We call ourselves a merchant bank now. And so we began as a consultancy, helping people run their ICOs and develop projects. I am a serial entrepreneur, and I've been an angel investor for probably 20 years. My partner, Marissa, is a securities lawyer, and we came together just looking at tokens about 2 years ago, started the company in San Francisco, and grew and grew and grew. And we've done over 24 ICOs in the last 2 years. We now have, that consultancy is evolving on a path that will eventually be a capital markets business. And we have an asset management business, which is essentially a fund, which for the last year has made 9 investments. We're now raising a second fund, ARK Fund 2. And I'm really excited to be really active in investing in young founders and smart founders to build great companies.
All right. And ICOs, of course, in the USA, officially it's forbidden. How do you deal with that reality?
Well, it's definitely not forbidden. So what's interesting is there's a lot of misinformation right now. The regulators have successfully, well, I think actually doing a really good job of building a framework of regulation, confused the market in terms of what's okay and what's not okay. We have done utility tokens last year. This year, based on the regulatory changes and guidance, we've started focusing more on projects that are what we call security tokens. And the way I describe this is basically taking an existing framework of equity and securities, but using a digital layer which allows better and more efficient market management of that equity and security token sale. So this is selling to accredited investors. It's investors who know what they're doing, research projects. But unlike, I have these investment history of like the last 20 years. Many of those deals are great, but they're not liquid. I have a bunch of shares in a bunch of companies that are fantastic companies, but I can't sell them. And so while on paper my wealth is high, sometimes it's not as high as I'd like it to be, but more importantly, I can't deploy that capital in new companies. And so it's an exciting time. The security token, which is basically digital equity, allows an opportunity to invest in companies and manage liquidity over time like any thoughtful investor.
So you still have to wait for some tokens from some projects?
Yeah, well, look, all projects. A story I always tell is I invested in a company, and for the first 5 years, I was pretty sure it was a write-off. But the founders kept at it. They worked nights and weekends while they had second jobs. And that company exited for about $30 million 2 weeks ago. And that's an amazing story, right? But that's the same thing with all companies. Companies don't follow a linear path to development and execution. They follow a path where they grow and build their business over time. And one of the great things about this world is that the blockchain, for sure, is one of the most important innovations since TCP/IP, and I think way more important than the web. And that is, if you think about the web touched e-commerce, communications, publishing. That's what, like 6-8% of GDP. This is going to touch every transaction that involves identity, trust, commerce, or escrow. That's 60 to 70% of global GDP. This is a much bigger wave of innovation than anything we've seen before technologically today, and I'm super excited to be part of it.
And is the way of investing quite different than during the dot-com period, or it's?
So I was very unpopular last year because I did a lot of investing where I asked for equity and tokens, and a lot of founders were like, "Why do you want equity?" Now I look like a genius, but one of the things is I really think that you should invest because you believe in a team and you want to be part of what they're doing, and sometimes that means investing in a protocol or a technology. Sometimes it means owning equity. Sometimes it means owning a platform to facilitate other founders of building their business.
Right. Maybe you can mention some of the projects you invested in. What is one of the favorites?
So a couple of history. Poet, which is a digital copyright company. 2 years ago, I think it was the most successful ICO listing price to top at the end of the year last year. I was in Hive project, which is still one of my favorites, which is trans-border factoring for small businesses. Current projects I'm looking at and working on, Scudix, which is solar-powered server farms for both mining and distributed computing. Electron, who is here today, one of my favorite companies, is a female founder, amazing, using the blockchain to transform the grid and energy trading and management. And I'm a big fan of a company called Metacert, which is a crypto security company. When you see the little green shield when you log into my Ether wallet or software like that's Metacert. So they're probably one of the biggest security companies. And of course, we bumped into him on the way here. Bill at Abra. I'm a big fan of Bill. I think what he's doing is amazing.
He's gonna swipe all the Western Unions out of the world.
I got Insala, right?
All right. So actually, if you look at the trends in the market, what kind of trends do you see? Do you see also more institutional money moving in, or?
Well, so it's a great question, and I think about the market in lots of different ways. And I'm working on my next fund, so I've been toying with the ideas of how to frame this market problem a little differently. So I think about first and foremost the blockchain as the substantial, innovative wave of change it is. And that is affecting businesses as diverse as utilities, energy, media, publishing, asset management, all shipping, all of these businesses, right? So the sort of blockchain transformation is one category. Building blocks infrastructures, that's everything from trading systems, wallets, anything that helps further this ecosystem, I'm really excited and want to invest in. And then the third thing is really starting to think about new financial instruments based on the blockchain. So these are things like asset-based tokens, real estate, copyright, art collections. Like, there's so much power around the blockchain to transform industry. So you want to sort of figure out where you think that next wave of change is, and then invest in that.
Yeah, we have some interesting Dutch ICOs, so perhaps...
What's your favorite Dutch ICO?
At the moment, but it is a client of mine, so I'm a bit biased, is Untitled. They actually have a platform to, of course, now you have Steam as a gaming...
I know the gaming space very, very well. I was a gaming investor and entrepreneur for about 5 years.
Yeah, actually, they want to liquidize the gaming token, like actually, get rid of the Steam as a dominant platform, and to have independent developers and gamers merge together via token.
If you use the internet as an analog for the blockchain's sort of innovation curve, it starts with money and information transmittal. Gaming is for sure part of that next wave of revolution, and I'm super excited about gaming, video games, and sort of both entertainment and also gambling, but also like this. How do we have dApps now? How do you find dApps? How do you use them? How do they talk to each other? Protocols like EOS and Hashgraph, really, especially EOS, get me really excited. I mean, I was at an event in LA the other day for a new product by a guy named Freddy Krueger that was just mind-blowing, the passion and excitement by he and the community there about EOS as a development platform. I haven't seen that since Ethereum was launched, basically. So I think that we're at the very beginnings of a massive wave of change.
Did you invest in EOS?
I did, actually. I'm a holder of EOS.
Any other favorite coins or trading?
Cardano, EOS, Ethereum, Bitcoin, blockchain terminal is one of my favorite projects from the last year, which is a Bloomberg for crypto. So I'm
protocols.
Protocols, infrastructure, tools, picks and shovels. I like that, and then I really like things that the next wave of this will be the interface between consumers and the blockchain, and that's where I'm thinking next year is really the next 24 months is going to be about that.
Yeah, we need actually a Farmville. We need a Candy Crush, or...
If you think about the web, it started with news and information, but Pogo, which I was an investor in actually, was the real wave of change.
Right. Thank you very much, Richard. And if Dutch ICOs can contact you via...
I'm easy to find. I'm all over the internet. My Twitter handle is Richard Titus. The company is ARK Advisors for the advisory firm, and ARK Fund for the ARKFund.io for the fund.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes.
Cheers. That was perfect.